Hello and welcome to Heart Shaped Boxer podcast. I'm Adam Webster, and this week we have 3 of 5 members of the band Any Given Reason. We have Mike 1.0 and Mike 2.0. We'll be referring to Mike 1.0 though as Smithy, and Damien as well. Welcome to the podcast, gents. How you doing?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, we're good. Just to say, we do have 6 members. We've got 2 vocalists. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No,
it's all right.
6 members of the. I'll edit that out. Bro, you've had a busy weekend. Were you a gig on Saturday night? Is that correct?
Yeah, we went all the way down to Essex. It was we were playing in Southend at this place called the Ironworks, and it from the first look at the venue, we weren't a bit sure, but like as soon as it got going, like honest to God, it was one of our best performances that we've ever done. The bands were cool. Wasn't a great turnout, but we just all meshed together and we just had fun anyway.
I've expected doing in a new place to not get a massive turnout, especially when all the bands that were playing were sort of relatively new anyway. But there were people down, people had a dance and people had a good time. And like you say, the venue, like I say, we'd never heard of it before or seen it or been down there. But when we got there, the sound was actually really, really good. I actually rated the sound that came out of there. It was a good night. All the bands sounded great as well.
The stadium bloke who was Coffee was good. I enjoyed him very much.
What was that? Sorry.
There was an Estonian bloke who was absolutely hammered, who just kept running around with his t-shirt off.
Oh yeah.
There's always one in the crowd, isn't there?
Oh yeah, he was loving it. He was a good chap, like.
He was the best ones. They're definitely the best guys at a gig. They're the ones you need to find straight away and become friends with. What made you go down to Essex then? What was kind of like the draw to that?
It was. I mean, we're always scouting for gigs anyway. We're always looking on the Facebook groups and even taking like last minute positions to fill in for other bands that may have had to pull out. But we're always looking for new places to go. We don't want to restrict ourselves to playing local. We've recently gone up to Manchester, so we played Manchester last month, Essex this month, and we are heading over to the motherland of Yorkshire in November. So we are trying to branch out, and we aren't expecting too much in terms of crowds, but if we can get opening slots for a more well-established band, then hopefully a few people will listen to us and enjoy what we're doing.
How do you get around kind of like the expensive, obviously traveling from far from where you're based and not drawing kind of crowds? You obviously the pay side of it is going to be kind of hitting you a little bit. Is that something you have to navigate around?
Yeah, we've kind of. So we did some lift sharing, obviously, from we don't just take like 6 cars. So we try and lift share as much as possible, even to the local gigs. We'll have people coming through and pick each other up. And yeah, it is a bit of an expense, but I think because we all have long-term ambitions with the band and where we're going, hopefully one day that's not going to be the case. But we've only been a band for a year. I think it was his year anniversary this last month. So it's expected we're going to have to put a bit of his own money in, put his hand in his pocket and get to these gigs.
Where are you actually then based at the 6 of you?
So our HQ is actually in Whitchurch. It's at the other vocalist Moose. It's actually at his house in the back garden. So we practice in basically like what can be described as a potting shed. There's ivy growing on the inside and everything. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, fucking hot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in the summer. Like, there's no ventilation or nothing. It literally is an old brick building, little brick outhouse, and in the summer it is just a sauna. Especially when you've got 6 sweaty guys in there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours at a time. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not like you do acoustic quiet numbers, is it? You're quite energetic in the numbers that you produce. So I can imagine even on a rehearsal night, it's quite.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The neighbours love us.
Oh, I mean, we've only gotten one noise complaint so far, which
we've had multiple complaints from one person.
All right, yeah.
I think that's we actually, speaking of the room, you know, you can actually see it in our video for Straight in the Jacket off the EP. We actually recorded that in our own rehearsal space. Okay. So we just literally got as many cameras as we could, set them up around the room, played, and tried to put something together so people could see what we do.
Let's go back to the very beginning then. So a year ago, you just said that you've done the kind of like just recently the year anniversary of the band. So take us back to that year ago. How did you all meet, and how did Any Given Reason come about?
So me and Moose, we've known each other for about 13, 14 years. And we've been doing music together for ages, like a long time. We've had bands together and so on and so forth. But it was just a conversation on a Friday night. It was like, you know what? Let's start a band together. So Moose reached out towards Damien, started having the conversation about having a band. So Damien got on board. We found out he lived in Anglesey. I was like, "Are you sure you're all right with this?" He was like, "Yeah, no worries. I'll drop the kids off in Yorkshire on Yorkshire in the weekend. It's fine. I'll stop off on the way back." So that was we got Damien on board. Then we got Dave, the bassist. We got Cal, and then we believe it or not, Mike 2.0 isn't actually the OG lead guitarist. We had a chat before him. He's a guy called Adam. He was a great guy, brilliant guitarist, but unfortunately, it just wasn't for him.
It was more creative differences. I think he wanted to go a different way with the band, and the majority of the rest of the band wanted to take it in a certain direction. Nothing against the guy. It was his decision to turn around and say, "Oh, look, lads, it's not for me." So, and then we were on the hunt for another guitarist, and luckily, I bet the bassist Dave, he knew Mike, and he said, "Oh, I'll have a word with him." So we got him down and sent him a few songs to learn so he could come down and jam with us and stuff like that. And then after that, we're stuck with him now.
He was playing hard to get to start off with, though. It was like we were trying to organise a first date and all that. It was very cute.
Yeah,
trying to be wine and dine. Did they do it? I take it they did it successfully, because they that you're obviously here now with us. But what was the seal for you then to come and join the band?
Well, it was a bit mental, to be honest, because Dave's the bass player. Me and him used to be in a horrible death metal band together, like they've sort of about 6 months before. And I'd been in bands like non-stop for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years or something. And I kind of got to a point where all the band stuff would sort of like the death metal band kind of petered out a bit. And I was obviously always, you do weekly practice and whatever. And I was like, I just have a couple of months off of just like not having to be around on whatever day for practice. And Dave kept messaging me about it, being like, "Oh, Mike, I've joined this band. You'll probably like really enjoy it, whatever." And I was like, "I'll give it a bit of a go, whatever." Yeah. And then he'd send me links to songs, and I'd go, "Yeah, I'm never going to look at that." And then just never did. And then he just pestered me to death. And I was like, "All right, I've known Dave for a long time. Like, yeah, sound. I'll give him a listen, whatever." And then I listened to it. I was like, "Holy shit! Actually, this is bang up my street." So then I think I learned a couple of songs, which Dave told me to learn. I went to practice, and David told me the wrong songs, so I'd learned the wrong songs anyway. So it then was just sort of sat in the corner like, right, I'm not really sure what's going on. I'd taken me a massive cabin stack trying to squeeze it into this tiny room, and it was a bit of a fucking disaster from word go, to be honest. But I'm bang up for a bit of misadventure, and I was just like, the guys were all sound. We kind of made it work in the end. It was good, and then yeah, I was umming and ahhing a bit after the first practice, and then I thought, fucking yeah, man, let's do it. But by the time I decided, I'd already been added to the band chat anyway, so I was like, well, this is it. Here we go. Let's do it. And then here we are. So when did I join? October, September?
October. It was I think it was end of September last year because we actually played his first gig in November. So we had a good 5-6 weeks of practicing before we did that. So yeah, it was about October last year.
Yeah, practicing the right songs as well, not just.
Yeah. It was like we were playing, and then and he was like, just looking at me, going, "That's not the guitar parts that I learned." I was like, "What do you mean?" So we had to like go through slowly. Right, this is like just a few bits so you can actually join in. And he picked it up fine. It was just that he came completely prepared with the wrong songs. So
he did well.
We all have a good crack, and I think that's one of the best parts of it. It's like we do have a serious goal in what we want to do, but we don't take ourselves seriously either. We have a good crack with each other.
It's always good. Mike touched a little bit on kind of his background there. What about you two, Smithy and Damien? What's your kind of background in the music? Have bands beforehand?
I'll let you go first, Damien. Yours is
Right.
more interested in mine.
I mean, before joining, Any Given Reason, I hadn't actually played in a band for, I want to say 13, 14 years. I was in a band years ago that nobody's probably heard of nowadays. We were called Clone the Fragile. And we started around 2003, 2004. Just started like what we're doing now, playing local gigs and stuff, trying to get his name out there. And over time, we released an EP through a record label, played with some what are now high profile bands, things like that. But yeah, it was a long time ago, and it got to the point where I thought, I haven't done anything for quite a long time, and I was just sat here playing guitar on my own at home, and I thought, I think it's time to start again. And that, like I say, when Smithy was saying, I reached out, or Moose reached out to me, it was kind of like one of those posts on Facebook saying I was looking for a band, and I'd noticed that he'd posted something up in one of the groups on Facebook. So I just replied, and then it went from there, and it snowballed, and here we are. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I did it for about 8 or 9 years before, but then didn't do anything for a long time.
Are you in, Smithy?
I was in choir at school.
Choir?
Yeah. Mate, in year 10, year 11, I used to proper sit in the music room banging out some theatrical anthems.
That were your falsetto?
Did you know, right, I was gonna be in the school play, and I was gonna have one of the leads, but the teacher didn't like me because I smoked. So she said that I can't.
I thought you were going to say she didn't like you because you were a shithouse, but that'd have been more sense.
No. That was after.
Okay.
But no, she didn't like me because I smoked, and then it just went from there, really. But no, me and like I said, me and Moose, we've been playing music for since the get-go. We started off in this shitty little band called Venus of Mum. That was awful. So when I first started out as a musician, I was shy. I wouldn't sing in front of people, which made band practice really, really, really fucking entertaining, because we do it in Moose's living room with his mum and his dad sat there, and everyone would be like, "Why aren't you singing?" It's like, I don't want to. But now you can't shut me up. I just don't give a shit anymore. But then Venus Mum fell through. The bassist slash singer decided to have a mental breakdown, and then that put paid to that. So then me and Moose carried on, and we thought, you know what, we're gonna make an acoustic duo. We're gonna be like Tenacious D, but shite. So we ended up learning a bunch of covers and just playing Percy's, which is the local venue in Whitchurch, and that's the only place that we played. But it was good. I enjoyed it. It felt good to be on stage, and it felt good to actually be doing something. But then we decided to start writing some more heavier
Songs.
and tastier stuff. So we started writing some metal songs, and that's when our first like proper actual band started, which was a band called Everdead. And we played about 3 shows. After the 3rd show, we all literally looked at each other and went, you know what, fuck this. Which was a shame, really, because if we'd have stuck at it, who knows what would have happened. And then things just kind of like, they died off for a bit. I mean, me and Moose, we didn't really do music that much anymore. I mean, apart from the odd music video on YouTube and stuff like that. And then I got asked to be the front man of my the band Before Any Given Reason, which was a band called Silence Hunter. And now this was pre-lockdown, just before COVID struck, and we were hitting it hard every weekend, absolutely smashing it. And it was my first top like proper time as a front man. So I was looking forward to testing the waters on stage, like actually like being at the helm of a band. And then nothing happened because COVID killed us. Like the drummer had another child, the bassist had a child, the lead guitarist moved down to Cheltenham, and so there was literally just me and the rhythm guitarist left. And he's like, you know what, fuck it, we'll call it a day then. And then Any Given Reason happened, and here we are. And honest to God,
happens for a reason.
Absolutely, it's the best band I've been in, and I love the bunch of cunts a load.
What was kind of like your first introduction to kind of heavier music then for you guys, especially for you, Smithy, when you said you sing in the choir and went from
Yeah.
Where was it that you found? Where was it you discovered kind of heavy music? Do you remember?
Everyone that that grew up in the early 2000s, they had an emo phase. Like,
Speak for yourself.
Like, Damien, listen, I know that you love Panic at the Disco, so
yeah, and
but no,
I love Panic at the Disco.
I'm gonna say,
of course he did.
Like,
No,
I was
music.
dancing to Electric Six the other weekend. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Nah, emo music's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug to like heavier metal. Like, I started out listening to when my dad was an avid Status Quo fan, so, and he loved Guns N' Roses as well. So it kind of like stemmed from that, really. And then, like, as I was growing up, I'd be like noticing things on the TV, and I'd be like, oh, you know what, I really like that. I really, really like that. So I was well and truly in an emo phase when I was growing up. So I had long black hair, I wore a trench coat, big, massive frigging New Rock boots and all that. And I looked hideous. It was, I'd look back at myself, and if I'd met myself back then, I'd have slapped myself across the face because I just looked like a knob. But then, I don't know, it just, like, you're always searching for something heavier. I find it's like I'll listen to things that range all the way from Metallica up into friggin' Infinite Annihilator, and it's just weird and wonderful, and I love it. Like, heavy music now, it's fantastic.
I think what it is I think everybody remembers the band that first got them into into metal music, and for me it was I was quite lucky. My uncle used to have this massive LP and CD collection, and I didn't have a record player when I was a kid, but I had a CD player. So I asked him if I could borrow some CDs, and I remember he lent me was it Blur Parklife album, Terrorvision album, Green Day Ducky, and Rage Against the Machine's debut album. So I like kind of started on, listening to the Terrorvision and that. And then as soon as I heard like Green Day and then Rage Against the Machine, I was like, yeah, this is what it is. And then from that, one of the lads I grew up with just down the road. He had his older brother was about 4 or 5 years older than him, so he was already finding new music, and he had Slipknot's debut album, and this was back in 1999, 2000, and he played it, and I was just like, oh my God, what is this? And I was just obsessed. So then I literally saved up my money from like my paper round and everything, just so I could go out and buy the album. And ever since then, it's just got to where it is. And still to this day, I've always pre-ordered every Slipknot album to this day as well. Oh, I just love it.
The Slipknot debut album always seems to pop up on this podcast. They're my favorite band of all time, Slipknot. I love Slipknot. But everyone, especially, I'm going to put you in a bracket. I might insult someone here, but I think we're the same kind of generation and era of age group. And if you were of that age group, that album was something completely new. You'd never seen anything like it before. The artwork, just down to the CD cover to the actual music itself, was like mind blowing.
I think it was also to do with like all the stories that came out. So like, obviously they were like, I think this has been mentioned on other things I've watched, like the mystique of bands is kind of like, it's dwindled a little bit, but in a good way, because people are getting to talk to it and interact with bands a lot more these days. But before, there was always this mystique. So like Slipknot, before anyone knew what they looked like, they were just those 9 masks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there were 9 masks, and the stories that you heard of them doing whatever on stage, doing all these shenanigans and whatnot, I mean, they're probably actually 90% true. But I think that's what also gripped you, because it was like Chinese whispers, though. So one person actually knows what happened, and then it carries on. And then everyone, you either loved them or you hated them. And the people that hated them just never listened to them. They just heard the stories. And all that combined just sort of just blew them up. And that's part of it as well, because like the videos were like the video for like Spit It Out, you know, based on The Shining and things like that. Oh, it was just like, I'd never seen anything like that before.
No. I think when you come, that mystique is brilliant in music, and I think at the moment the only kind of current band that are kind of doing that is Sleep Token.
Yeah,
they're the only ones who've managed to keep this mystique to the point where, if you, like you said, if you love them or hate them, everyone's kind of going, it's weird. It's no one knows who these guys are.
Yeah.
I was talking to forgot who it was now on the show a couple of weeks ago, and they said that they were on a festival with Sleep Token, and they were backstage watching most of the music, and then all of a sudden security comes in, clears everybody out from behind the scenes, not allowed anywhere near the backstage as Sleep Token came on and set up. So they're doing really well to keep that mystique in an era where everyone knows everyone's business, don't they? You know? Yeah,
they do, and it took a long time for people to know who Slipknot were, and I think the actual catalyst for that was when Corey Taylor went back to Stone Sour, and Jim Root in Stone Sour. Obviously, they were playing without masks, and from then on, it just kind of. But they still have the, you know, even when Tortilla Man came in and people like that, and people still trying to figure out who it is when they first come in, so it's still there a little bit, but. Yeah, definitely. Sleep Token have managed to keep it very, very secretive. Like,
I think with Slipknot, is they say to the new members they're not allowed to have an identity, are they? Until they're formed into the band, and that's when they're like either release it or they don't mind if it gets released who it is and everything like that. But yeah. Who knows how long it will take Sleep Token to be.
I don't know, because it was only meant to be a side project, wasn't it? And what the 3 albums in?
Okay,
yeah. So they're probably going to ride the wave now, I think.
Yeah. The new one seems to have catapulted them as well. I kind of think because of the crossover of kind of genres that they've done on this new one. Yeah, they've definitely. I'm actually going to see them on Friday night, so I'm quite excited to see them, to be honest. But so what about yourself, Mike? What was your kind of introduction to metal music?
So my mum and dad were always, I mean, loads of people go, my mum and dad were classic rock fans or whatever back in the day. Like we used to go on caravan holidays to Devon or whatever. I'm from Stoke, so it's obviously a massive drive. I'd always have I know Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC. My dad was quite into Rammstein and whatever, and that was sort of from quite an early age. That was always kind of into it like that, kind of just because what my parents were listening to. And then I was like, I remember I was, you know, when you're like back in the days of Sky TV, when you just sit there and flick between Kerrang and Scuzz, and then that's just what you do for about 19 hours a day. I was doing that, and this music video came on. I remember watching it, being like, "Oh my god, this is absolutely mental." I couldn't remember what it was afterwards, but it was these people just like playing on this platform that was like rocking, and the room was spinning around, and it was mental. And I then completely forgot what it was. No idea, but was always kind of like into a bit of the stuff on Kerrang and Scuzz because me oldest brother Dave was a guitarist as well, so I got a lot of inspiration from him, and he was like banging to the metalcore scene probably like 20 odd years ago now, where it was like the early Bullet stuff like Atreyu, As I Lay Dying, all that kind of vibe, and he kind of almost inspired me to start playing guitar. And I was like watching telly, and he made me watch Tears Don't Fall when that came out and started being a thing. I was like, yeah man, this is meant. And then he was showing me just some other guitar stuff, and then it went through the Fire and Flames, became massive, and he showed me that, and that like absolutely blew me head off, which is what made me pick up guitar seriously. And then, yeah, I remember when I was at uni many years later, I was sat in my mate Phil's room, and he got like shitloads of music on his computer. And then we were just, I don't know, just doing whatever, chilling, having a few beers in his room. And I looked over at his computer screen, and I saw that music video that I remembered from 15 years before. I was like, holy shit, like, what is this? And the song was The Memory Remains by Metallica. And for like that like 10-year gap, I had no idea what it was. I'd listened to it on the radio like a million times, and like it was dead popular like, at the time, so it was always on at metal nights wherever you went. And I literally had absolutely no idea that was what the song was. I was like, oh, apparently I was a closet Metallica fan at the age of 9 or however old I was. And yeah, that was kind of it really. And then the more I sort of, as I grew up a little bit, I left high school and went to college, and I started hanging around with the Grebos and all that. And there was another dude who I knew called Josh Kosa, who were good mates at the time. And he was a guitarist as well. And I was like, I really want to get into learning more technical stuff and like guitar and heavy shit, because I had no idea. I had no particular outlet that I could get into where there was loads of it that I could sort of explore things. So he made me like a mixed CD tape thing of like different bands to listen to. And the opening track was Hate Crew Death Roll by Children of Bodom. And that came on and just immediately fucking blew my face off. I was like, what is this? And then from there, it went on for Children of Bodom, then became my like all-time favourite band. I went to see their last ever show in Helsinki when they played a few years ago, just before lockdown. R.I.P. Alexi. Makes me sad, man. He was my hero. But yeah, that's sort of how it developed, really. Just banging to like the metalcore stuff. It's got like a really melodic vibe that I enjoy. I'm really into melodic death metal. So like Monomorph, Arch Enemy, Children of Bodom, like maybe a bit of Lamb of God, like that kind of vibe. Really, it just absolutely takes me. It's just like absolutely horribly heavy. Then the guitar is just like singing over the top of it is really good. And some of it like Bodom as well, a bit in Lamb of God, they have like a bit of a bluesy sound to the solo stuff as well that they do. And yeah, that was kind of where it came from, really. And then, yeah, it's just got sort of kind of like Smithy said, just got worse and worse. And the more I listen to it, like my current favourite band by a million miles is Lorna Shore. How they just have the heaviest of heavier. Will Ramos just being a fucking absolute disgusting bastard all the time, just absolutely phenomenal. And they've got like the whole orchestral symphonic thing going over the top of it, which is something that we might start trying to move into a bit as a band, depending on how much money I need to pay the other guys to let me start writing orchestral pieces for us. And yeah, man, and that's sort of it. I've always been into sort of rock music from an early age from my parents, and then the more I listen to it, like I see Cannibal Corpse live a few times and other horrible bands, that I ended up joining a death metal band in Stoke. And yeah, man, it's just a bit of everything really, but the heavy but melodic side is what really gets me. Good man, a buzz off it. I used to spend hours playing guitar at home. Like I think when Children of Bodom released the was it Relentless Reckless Forever album? I think it might have been. They got the first single they released was called Was It Worth It? And I learned like the day it came out. Absolute banger of a tune. I can remember looking at my iTunes like a week after it had come out. I'd listened to it like 150 times in a week or something. They just sat there practicing it over and over again. And yeah, man, it was good. And then now I've ended up with this bunch of idiots.
What kind of music would you say is the kind of like the inspiration behind Any Given Reason? what kind of joint bands do you kind of all connect on that you say that kind of influences you a little bit?
I want to say we're heavily influenced by Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, really. Like the sort of stuff that we're writing, because it's not just one single person that's writing. It's like we're all like bouncing ideas off one another, and because we all like come from like different sort of like genres, if you will. It's like my favorite band is Linkin Park. Like I live and die Chester Bennington. He's my forever idol. So I try to incorporate something like that with the clean vocals that we bring in. Whereas like Damien, he's the shit that he writes, he should have been in fucking Killswitch Engage. Like, and then Mike's this big, massive, dirty grebo that frigging, I'm pretty sure he spin kicks his nan and frigging burns down churches on the weekend. Like, but the stuff that he writes it's dirty, it's filthy, and it's amazing.
I think we've from after we all had a big part in sort of in the Alpha EP. We had, Smithy had some songs up his sleeve, and we took that song and then just modified it to our sound, and same with like Moose, he had songs and things like that. But the next EP or album, whichever we decide to do, it has been a lot more everybody involved, so we've had a lot more input from all over. Like say before Mike joined us, we already had some songs written, so he was learning them and then coming in and just adding his own flair to them. But now over this last year, we've actually written some more songs, and I think that's more truer to what we're going to be and how we are moving forward. So it is a big mix of genres. So I mean, one day I could be writing a riff or thinking like I think, I'll listen to some Arch Enemy, and then I'm just like, yeah, I just want to do that, and then it'll be Killswitch, and then it might be, As I Lay Dying type things. So that's still all of those bands. What sort of draws me to them, that they all have that melodic element, like Mike was saying, we do like that melodic element. So Killswitch have it, Arch Enemy have it, As I Lay Dying have got it. I mean, I know that's kind of what metalcore is, but we do like to take the influence from other genres. So whether it be, say, Lorna Shore for some orchestral type piece of music that we want to put over the top, or if it's like an Arch Enemy where we just want to have a little bit of a either kind of thrashy or a little bit more of a death sound, but not to the point where it's death metal or thrash metal, but we use the elements to kind of push ourselves on in the new songs. And I think the next release that we do, the next EP or album, is going to be a bigger true reflection of the six of us. So we've all had input on this EP as well, and we've kind of made the songs as own. But I think the next EP is really going to be when we can say, this is who we are. It's a good start. Alpha, we love Alpha. Like, we spent so much time doing it. So many hours of me asking people to record their shit. Right? So many hours. And then getting the song to a final mix and someone going, I've changed my bit. And I just think, you're an asshole. And, because we were still in that phase of, still figuring out the songs as well. And then I'd get someone saying, oh, can I change this bit? And I'm like, well, yeah, but you need to record it now. We're nearly ready. So then we put the release back a little bit, because we were like, right, I just had enough. I was like, right, you guys sort your shit out. Tell me what you want. We need to get recorded so we can get it done. Because it was just like every 2 minutes, oh, that's not right. I've changed that bit. Oh my God. But the next one, hopefully, less stress.
Linear.
For me, and I will be cracking the whip next time. Not pissing about.
The two songs that we got going at me, like Toast and Chains and that, the Chains especially, I think that is I fucking buzz off that tune loads, I do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
got
absolutely.
like a massive piece of all of us in it. Like it's well good. We played it live for the first time at the gig down in Essex last weekend, and I don't think there was any disasters, to be honest. Considering
No,
First time, no disasters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll put a pin in that one because I do ask that question later on with gigs and whether you have problems and stuff. Before we go on to the next part, if we were to write a little tagline for the podcast, how would you describe Any Given Reason to new listeners?
knobheads.
Right, that's locked in now. That answer.
I'm happy with that.
The truth. We're all.
It was so quick as well.
Yeah, I agree, but we're happy and fun knobheads. So like you say, we do like to have a laugh on that, but we do take ourselves seriously when it comes to the music and that. But I think if you take it too seriously and see it as like say a business or something like that, then you kind of lose the reason why you're doing it. We all do it because we love to play music on stage. We love to go out on the weekend or even during the week, get on stage, play for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, and that gives us a buzz. And I think if you start taking the fun out of it, you just lose your way and you just end up, not enjoying it anymore.
You see that with so many musicians, though, don't you? You can look through the also history, the likes of Kurt Cobain, people like that who obviously loved making music when they first started, and then it just became a business to them. And I think that's what people have to remember, whether in all walks of life, whether it be this or your job, you can't take it too seriously. You've got to have some fun, otherwise it just becomes miserable.
Well, that's it. I mean, we do try and obviously, like I know you're saying before about what do we do when it comes to gigs and we're having to, pay for the travel costs and things like that. But also, we're trying to keep like other costs down for production of the CD. I know some people do like to have CDs, some people don't, and you can get it on Spotify. But I think there is still a little bit of a market for people at gigs to go, I'll pick that CD up if you like that band live, because I still do it now. And with the T-shirts and things like that, that's all our own money that we're putting in. So we're trying to keep those costs down. But I think eventually you are going to get to a point, hopefully, when you want to concentrate on the music, so other people need to take that over. Yeah. But for now, we're literally doing absolutely everything ourselves, booking gigs, not T-shirt printing, but ordering T-shirts, designing the T-shirts. We designed all the artwork on the EP ourselves, as actual combined effort. We got the CDs printed. We're going out to gigs, so everything we do is 100% us, and that's because we actually love what we're doing. We want to do well, and we have a vision to go on and play bigger shows, things like that. Hopefully one day have more people listen to us. But yeah, everything we do in-house.
Where does Army of Clowns come from? Not the actual song. You like to call yourself the Army of Clowns and your fans and that. Where did that come from?
So that song was written by Moose. That one.
Okay.
It's a good track. I mean, I think it almost happened by accident. That one day, I think it was we just released Army of Clowns, and then I think it was more of like a promo sort of thing, just for like clowns coming out, and we started calling everyone clowns, and then it just kind of like stuck. So it was completely accidental. Like we didn't even intend for that to happen, but it works, I suppose.
It was never intentional. It just sort of it became.
Yeah.
It was like one of those things that just just made itself, and it wasn't planned or anything like that. It was more of a, oh, you know, this is it was sort of like when you were asking for the tagline for the podcast, it was more like the tagline for the song.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
and then we were like, oh, you know what, people are responding to it, so you just roll with it. It might disappear, might not, but it was just completely unintentional, but it seemed to do us a bit of good, so we were more than happy to roll with it.
Might as well. So let's talk about the music then. Your first single was released in November 2022, which was The State of Mentality. And then since then, you've released the beautiful EP. Isn't that? You've got the which came out on the 23rd of June. Great little EP. What's the story behind it? What's the what kind of hard work went into this?
Well, Damien, Damien,
Sleepless nights.
Damien was a pack horse behind the EP. Honest to God, without Damien, we wouldn't have had this EP, because he's honest to God, he's been a legend. So Damien, he mixed and mastered the entirety of it,
which I had to learn how to do it.
Yeah,
All right.
Exactly. So we recorded quite a few bits at Moose's, because he's got a studio set up at his as well. And all we did is like we'd get stuff together, we'd send it over to Damien. When we had a finished truck, when the tracks were finished, we'd send them all over to Damien, and we must have had about 8, 9, maybe 10 versions of the songs, because every day, like, no, it'd be every other day, sorry. So Damien would come to us and he'd send us all the songs, like, right, this song's finished now. It's like, happy days, it's ready for the EP. And then the day after, he'd be like, right, I've done some tweaking. We've fixed this. And he must have done that about 10 times. But in all fairness, it paid off, and the songs were sounding better and better each time.
Hey, there was a lot of that song, man. The whole EP, like, Damien, how many times did I be at work and it's like, oh, well, I've got my headphones in a quiet half an hour, so I'm just at my laptop doing whatever. And it's like, oh, by the way, I've just heard this one tiny drum kick where it's like an eighth of a out of time.
Honestly, like
a tiny bit of attenuation on it that needs sorting. It might have been 8 or 9 versions to the band, but me and Damien must have done at least 100 for each song.
Absolutely. I mean, it was we had kind of had a discussion, like saying what we're going to do. Are we going to pay for some studio time? Are we going to you know, source it out, or do we want to give it a go ourselves? And me and Moose had the conversation, was because I was already kind of doing stuff at home anyway, you know, just recording bits on my computer, just guitar parts mainly. And he'd been doing the same, you know, just some demos and whatnot. I said, right, between us, I reckon we can record something. At least if we record something, you know, if we have to send it off somewhere, then we can do. But then it was like, oh, that's going to cost a fortune. So it'd be easier if I just like watch like 100 hours of videos on YouTube or whatever else, and courses on this, and just watch them just to get an understanding of how to press record, basically. And it just went from there. And I was like, this was the first ever. So State of Mentality was like the first ever song I'd ever recorded, it mixed and everything. We know it's not perfect. We know it's not like, you know, up to standards of, you know, the big recording studios and professionals and whatnot. But for us, we think, oh, you know, it sounds shit hot. Like we put that work in. So collectively, you know, we all put the time in recording, re-recorded bits, re-recorded solos, re-recorded this, re-recorded this, vocals, a lot. And it, to us, it kind of got to the point where it was like a labor of love. So we knew we wanted to put something out, and it took us about 6 months to do it. And I know there's only 5 tracks on there, 6 tracks if you include the intro, sorry. But yeah, it took us about 6 months to do it from start to finish. And that was because it'd be like, Michael go down to Moose's before practice on a Sunday and record like his guitar parts for one song, and then he'd do it in a week's time, the next song, and then getting bloody Smithy to record his vocals were like getting blood from a stone, right? Honestly.
And now see where all this resentment was coming from earlier now.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, I reckon I could do better." I says, "Well, that's up to you. Like, it's your vocals, you're singing them. If you want to do something, if you want to re-record them, that's fine. Like, not a problem. But just record them. Like, getting him to record them was a mission, honestly, right? But eventually he did it, and then obviously we've got the final product, and like I say, me and Mike, between us, I was like, oh, I've just tweaked this a bit. I'll have a listen on your system, I'll listen on mine, because obviously we've been doing everything in my living room where I'm sat now. It's not the most ideal place to produce a record, but you've got to so I was sending it out to him saying, right, what do you think? Can you hear anything? Because I'd been listening to it for like 2 hours. So like my ears had gone like deaf to the sound of anything. So send it to Mike, and he'd be like, oh yeah, at this point I heard a little bit of something. So I'd go back, and it was a big learning curve for all of us. At least not for me. So yeah, it was a good process, and I think it means more to us because we've done it ourselves and we put that work in. So we're massively proud of it, and we say it can only get better from there. So hopefully the next time we record I've told them next time we record something, I'm making a plan, and you stick to it. And if you don't,
fuck you.
I'll sing your vocals. Then
why is it me?
Then because you'd be late for your own funeral, mate. That's why.
Listen, I'm a very busy man. I've got college, I've got everything.
You're not in college anymore. It's not an excuse you can use.
Well, yeah, it's true. No, it'll be fine next time. But it will be the vocals recorded last anyway, because like I've got stuff to do.
I can already see the steam coming. I can see.
Mate, well, cats, honestly, but all of us are fucking nice. They're probably me the most difficult, to be honest. I'm just like, I get up on Sunday and be like, right, well, I went bed at 8:30 and it's now 11 o'clock and I'm already late for practice. You okay? Don't worry, guys. I'll get there eventually.
Or is that time like you never turned up?
I mean, no one's perfect, are they? Come on, we don't need to be pointing fingers here.
Oh yeah, I knocked my phone off the night. Oh yeah,
it's all right. I've got like 2 hours to drive to practice, and I'm there. No excuses.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, fair play. Yeah,
you're less of a mess than I am.
This is true.
Maybe before the next EP or album or whatever you choose to do, maybe a group therapy session for you all, just to kind of go over any rules.
We've got one of them. It's called a barbecue at Moose's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll be all right. Yeah,
the best therapy session.
Yeah.
All coming out on the table that time. A few Stellas and everybody. There'll be guitars fucking swinging all over the place. It'd be right though. Good. It'd be like some kind of monster, but some kind of morons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect set for a music video, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What
group therapy session or the barbecue?
The barbecue. Yeah. In it.
It's like the day we're playing. Is that the day after we're playing at one of his gigs, which we'll come up to later on? But yeah, we've got a weekend that weekend, so we've got a gig the day before, and then we're all getting together for a barbecue the day after. So it should be a good weekend, like.
Coming back to the EP though, to say that it was all kind of a DIY production by yourself and everything like that, it is a truly great EP. I love the EP myself. Can I ask this question, or is it like choosing your favorite child? What's your favorite track on it each?
Ooh. I think we'll all have something different. So go on. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess they might probably State of Mentality because I have the most ludicrous guitar solo in it out of all. Mate, the amount of versions I made of that and the amount of time it took me to learn to actually be able to play it, like the fast bit, I figured it out in the time. It's whatever BPM times like the 16th note times over. It's like 18 notes in 4 seconds or so. I have no idea what it was, but it took me so long to get it down. But now I've finally got it. Like when we play it live, I absolutely love it. And it's like, the whole song is like super high intensity. We've got like the whole intro track that comes in where it like builds up with the orchestra and shit. And it just comes in, it's just like bang, punches you right in the face, man. It's so good. That's definitely my favourite song off the EP by a million miles. Like all of them are bangers, and obviously everyone's got a bit of a hierarchy of the favourite tunes. But yeah, that's absolutely my number one. That is definitely
fair. Yeah, if I had to pick between the EP, it'd be a toss up. It'd be a toss up between two. So I absolutely love State of Mentality. Now I don't want it to come across as a biased opinion, because I wrote the song, but it was our first song released. Like we all played it together. It was recorded together, and it was the first thing out. And like I just want to touch on what Mike said. It's like it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then when it goes off, it fucking goes off, and it's just amazing. Like that is my favorite song. However, there is we've got Straight in the Jacket as well, which kind of like organically grew between all of us. I sent the song over to Dane. Dane recorded it, and then we basically just fucking chopped and changed between everyone. Like, and from a vocalist point of view, the chorus in that is second to none. So if I had to say, it'd be Straight in the Jacket.
Okay. No, I do like Straight in the Jacket. I think for me, I think it was the sort of the first one that I sort of brought to the table as a song that, you know, where it was my idea. Like Smithy with, you know, State of Mentality, that was sort of his little baby. And then, you know, when the band got hold of it, we kind of just like added a bit of flair to it. We didn't really change the song per se, but it just added our touch on it. And then, but the one for me, it would be, you know, Heaven Sent. I think, because I was just messing about one day, as you do, and I think because of the message of the song as well, it's about positivity and about you know, a lot of songs in our genre, like metal altogether, are kind of moody. I think that's probably the best term to say. You know, it is moody. That is metal. You know, but we wrote this song, and it's more of an uplifting song, though lyrics wise, anyway. You know, and it has a bit more of a meaning to it. So for me, it's Heaven Sent.
It's bouncy as well. Very, very bouncy.
I mean, those are the three best songs off the EP, I reckon. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love the other two, but yeah, those are the top three, definitely, for me anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
I agree.
I actually enjoy playing all the songs on the EP. You know, it's I mean, it was the only songs we had for 6-7 months anyway, and we were playing gigs with those 5 songs, and I love them all. But yeah, and especially with the newer stuff that we're coming out that we're bringing out as well, that we've been writing. I think some exciting times ahead as well.
No, I can't wait to get that new stuff played. No, I really can't. I'm like a kid. I'm like a kid at Christmas. I want it out yesterday, but unfortunately we can't do that because then we'd have nothing to release.
It's not that. It's just that we'd have to wait for your vocals to be recorded. So, you know,
I'll do them right now, mate.
Heart-shaped box exclusive. We'll record the track right now, just for free.
Yeah. Shots fired.
We'll move on to your gigs then. Obviously, we talked briefly about the one on Saturday night that you've just done. You've got a run of gigs in August coming up, starting with your Shrewsbury HMV gig on the 5th of August. Then followed by on the 18th, you're in Northwich at the Sorry Dog. And then the 19th of August, Newcastle under Lyne at the Rigger. And then you've got a bit of a break then, haven't you, for a month? And then your next gig's 24th of September in Manchester at Sutton's Hollow.
Yeah, I mean August is going to be a good month. HMV gig came. I don't even know how that came about, but we're quite excited.
I think it was Moose that sorted that out.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Well-
And I mean, I remember years ago seeing videos of bands like Deftones and Rage Against the Machine and people like that playing in HMV. Like when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And we're doing
Yeah,
it.
but how-
you know, we're
Honest
absolutely
to God,
doing
how fucking cool is it? The fact that we will be playing in a record
it
shop,
in a shop
in a shopping centre.
at 3:00 in the afternoon.
We're all wireless, right? It's gonna be
Make
carnage.
sure Mike's up.
And it's on my fucking birthday as well. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Make sure he's definitely up then.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean,
it'd
I
be
think
absolutely wild. Shropshire's not ready for it, man.
no, I don't think we're ready for it either. To be fair, it's gonna be
You're
absolutely
not.
mental.
This is going to be the first year you've seen me on my birthday. It is. I have a sight to behold.
Well,
There's
just
gonna-
stay sober until we've played.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
it's-
I can't make give me a lift out.
it's at 3:00 in the afternoon, Mike.
Yeah, it's my birthday. What do you want from me, man?
You'll probably wake up at 1, so you'll have a job on. But yeah, the other 2 gigs as well. Where I'm the one in at the Salty Dog. That's been a long time coming. Actually, we were meant to play that gig in March. That was a different venue, and because of certain factors of running up to the week of the gig, because that's with Destroy Planets and Making Blind Eyes See, which we've been, like I say, we've been looking forward to play that gig since the beginning of the year when we got announced. But because of certain circumstances, the gig got postponed and moved to a different venue, which is now the Salty Dog. So we're really looking forward to that. That's going to be a good night. Hopefully, that's going to be a good crowd. Definitely.
Coming back to the HMV gig, though, I don't know if you guys, I keep putting you in the same bracket as me again, but I was obsessed with HMV when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Growing up my teenage years, most of my time when you'd go out with groups of friends was spent walking around HMV.
Mate, do you know how many
And seeing what
shit
new albums
CDs I
are out.
bought from HMV because the album cover looked cool?
Yeah, same.
Like how many times I've gone into a HMV and go in the metal section and you're just looking through bands and you're thinking, right, who can I listen to? Because there was no streaming platforms back then. I mean,
No.
I think this was even pre-Napster as well, before we were
Yeah.
legally downloading stuff. But not me, but other people as well. But yeah, I used to go into HMV or like other record shops back home, but you just look through and you'd see something with a cool bit of album art and you think, you know what, I'll buy that, and then you get it home and you're either really excited by it or really disappointed. So
Yeah.
it's one or the, and that was kind of like the excitement of it as well. So, and I think this was even before sort of Kerrang TV and, like Mike was saying earlier, Scuzz TV really took off.
Yeah.
So you were relying on what CDs you bought, and you used to borrow them off your mates and whatever else. But yeah, I used to love going through HMV and just spending like an hour just looking at CDs as well as the other stuff that they had. It was like every Saturday afternoon, I'd do my Saturday morning job,
Yeah.
and then the money that I got from working on the Saturday morning, I'd go out and just spend on CDs.
I think there was a birthday that I had a number of years, a horrible amount of years ago now, where I just started like getting into the music. My mum and dad didn't know what to get me at all. I was like a fucking moody teenager who was just like grunted and so spoke, which is much different now, to be honest, because I'm from Stoke and speaking's hard for me anyway. But I think they'd known that I'd gone into started getting into heavier music. For my birthday, they got into it was HMV. The one in Hanley near me, not the one we're playing at, unfortunately, which would have been a nice tie up to the circle, but not quite yet. And they went in and basically were like, we've got a kid, he's 12 or however old I was at the time. And they were like, what songs or albums you think you might like? And that they had no idea about like the heavier music properly. And I think it was The Crusade. They got me this Crusade by Trivium, Peace Sells by Megadeth, Sounding the Seventh by Avenged Sevenfold, and another one which I probably should remember, but don't remember off the top of my head. And they were just, those were just CDs that just ended up at like in my like little fucking CD player that I had in my bedroom at home. I listened to those 4 albums on repeat like forever. And like Damon said, it was before the internet was particularly big. There was no streaming services, no Spotify or none of that. But yeah, man, it was good. Used to, like David said, spend many hours just fucking wandering around. I was more of like a poster flicker, I was, than like an actual CD.
Yeah, man.
Big metal thing on the wall. Well, I know I looked at all of these last week, but I'm going to look at them contemplating live as if I've not already seen them, and for some reason spent 20 minutes doing it. But yeah, man, it was good, and just misadventures of being a teenager and just kicking about. And yeah, man, lads, CD shops were massively important, and it's a bit of a shame they aren't so much anymore, but everything's convenient, isn't it, nowadays? I mean, we're whores for it. We're all on Spotify and whatever, just like everybody else is. You got to get your name out there. And yeah, back in the day, it was like way much bigger thing than it is now. But yeah, I used to spend many hours for some reason looking at posters. I knew what they looked like. But no, it was good, man. It was good. It'd be good if we could get our CD in HMV just for the crack, to be honest. I don't even fucking know if they still sell CDs anymore.
We will. August.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Even for a day.
Just take it there and leave it on the shelf, and they'll be like, "What the fuck's this? How much is that, mate? Who the fuck are they?"
No, not on the system, mate. No. It'd be good, man. It'd be good. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we'll do what Rage Against the Machine did and become immediately famous straight afterwards. So,
yeah.
I want a pic
on the venue list for LA or wherever it was they played. It'd be right.
I want a picture of Mike scattering through the poster section in HMV on the 5th.
Yes.
Absolutely. Relive youth, the glory days.
Yeah, I'll be browsing.
I still do it though. I still go into HMV. I love
posters.
It. Going back to the gig, so how do you find gigging? Are the nerves there, or straight away as soon as you go on the stage, especially with there being 6 of you? I guess it's quite comforting having so many of you there.
I think we're all a bit nervous after our back catalogue of major fuck ups. With the technical side of things, like until we played at Essex, like we had technical issue after technical issue. I mean, like it was our second gig. Mike blew his wireless pack up because he decided to charge it on a fucking thundercloud, and it like
the battery not good.
Yeah. And then we've had issues with wireless mics not working. We've had issues with, I think, didn't we have one gig where your guitar cut out, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the first gig where my wireless has actually worked properly. I think maybe when we played Percy's for the very first one, it was all right then, but we probably played, 6, 7, 8 gigs since then. Every single time my wireless has not worked until this gig. I've been through 4 different wireless setups, but I bought a Line 6 G30 last week, which hopefully will continue to work. And yeah, that's probably my first wireless where it's, I mean, when we played in Manchester, like last month or whenever it was, we got on, plugged me, I only had a cheap, shitty wireless thing at the time, plugged it in, everything was fine. Then sound, pointed the sound guy, start the backing track. So I go over to me pedal thing to fucking turn all my volume off. I could see me little, the receiver thing plugged into it. It's just like no signal found. I was like, right, so I know we just started playing, but my guitar is now not working. When then I had to scrabble around behind stage and get a cable. And I just about managed to get it working, but the cable was only about 1 meter long. And where my pedal was, because it was supposed to be wireless, was stuck behind one of the massive speakers. So I spent most of the gig stood behind the speaker where nobody could actually see me anyway. So, I mean, it's probably for you. Everybody else, but it's just disaster after disaster until last weekend.
Yes.
So hopefully we're on the up now. So I mean, if we have, I mean, we're using our own gear on HMV, so hopefully it's plain sailing from there. But we'll be able to see if we broke the curse when we're in Northwich. So hopefully we don't have any technical issues this time.
Have you had anything other than technical, with there being 6 of you on a stage and quite a energetic band? Any mishaps that are not technical related?
I think Dave got really pissed off at me in Manchester because I think I nearly took his head off about 5 times with my guitar. but I didn't know. I
You
was
just lost in the moment, weren't you, mate?
Yeah, I lost in the moment, you know. And then afterwards, he was like, "You nearly took my head off about 5 times." I was like, "Oh, sorry, mate."
He also shit. It was a good gig. That was. It was a good gig.
It was a good gig. It was, like I say, first time to Manchester. We were playing with, you know, some good bands, like, you know, and it was a fun night. Like it was, there was actually quite a decent crowd. It was a small venue, but it was a decent crowd there, and we had a good laugh, like always. But yeah, it was fun.
Mate, Ataka were fucking spectacular that night. I think they were the best band of the night. They were so good. I was absolutely vibing. There's the dude crowd surfed the fucking wrong way from the stage into the crowd. Up for like 30 people, and then the singer that ran off stage and was like stood on our merch table, just like going mental above the sound guy. He was like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like, it was a fantastic gig that was.
Yeah, they are a good band
as well, to be honest.
Yeah, they were.
What band's that? Sorry,
Ataka.
Ataka. Yeah, I've heard them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were good lads. Like, you know, having a good chat with them and whatever. But yeah, they put on a good show as well.
Are you finding are you mixing with the crowds much afterwards and finding quite good feedback? And have you experienced fans getting in contact since from further afield than you guys are based?
Yeah, I mean, I went drinking with someone on Saturday because I you know, even though we were far away in Southend at the weekend, I stayed down there. Everyone else sort of drove back home after the gig, after the night had ended. But yeah, I was like, "Oh, where y'all going? Let's go out and just have some drinks and, you know, have a good time." And yeah, we were happy to more than happy to mix with people, either fans or non-fans, even, or, you know, just anybody that's around. We're quite a chatty bunch. We're more than happy. Yeah, it was good though. You know, go out to Wetherspoons after a gig, you know, with a cheap beer.
Yeah, it's good to get your name out there as well. Like, if you do, because I mean, none of us like fucking stand on the laurels that much. Where you just stood there like, "Oh well, I've just played and you can't talk to me." That's just utterly ludicrous when people have that sense of entitlement, I think. Yeah. But yeah, if you play a show and someone's made the effort to come up to you and be like, "Hey man, like that was ace, like I really enjoyed it," you'd be like, "Fucking yeah, man, sound like, let's do it." Like, it's quality, it's what it's about. And yeah, it's like it helps build the atmosphere. You get more fans. Like, even I'm not like particularly into this to become a millionaire and start selling out arena tours, to be honest. But like, you go in and you have a good time, and if people are having a good time with you, like, you're putting it out and people are picking it up and they're liking it, and it's good, man. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think there should be like a separation between like band and audience. Like, you do your thing, and like, I know we're only playing pretty small venues at the minute, but I think every gig that we've played, like, I haven't ever left before the last band has finished. And like, people come up to you and be like, "Oh mate, really enjoyed your set." And I know there's always a bit of that where you're not going to walk up to somebody and be like, "Oh mate, your set was fucking whack," because people just generally don't do that most of the time. No. But no, it's good to get people's feedback. And if someone's like, "Oh, I particularly like this song," or I don't know, if there's, like, I don't know, if you see people who picked it up where they're singing the lyrics back to you when you're on stage and like a catchy chorus or whatever, it's mint, man. It's what it's about. It's like a whole experience. It's not you and them. It's like, I think it's everybody in it together, really. I don't want to be like, "Oh, we're downtrodden in society," because I'm like the least oppressed man that has ever existed. It's good, man. It's good to be part of the scene, part of the crowd, part of the
community, innit? That's what it is. It's a big,
absolutely.
Especially the metal music scene. It's a massive community, and I think everyone needs to just remember that sometimes, that we're all there for the same reason, just to listen to some good music.
Yeah, we've touched on this quite a bit in this podcast. There seems to be a good kind of mentality in the metal scene at the moment. With, you talk to one band and they'll mention other bands constantly, and you know, you're seeing it on social media, bands that are kind of communicating, and all of a sudden they're on each other's bills and that, and everyone seems to be out for each other rather than it just being about themselves. And it's a really nice community to be a part of right now.
That's the way it should be, though. I mean, like, because making it now. I mean, I'll be real. Like, making it nowadays, like making it to the top, like. Yeah. like as Mike was saying, like selling out arenas and such. It's like it's almost getting virtually impossible unless you have those connections and you have those contacts. So there's nothing wrong with, say, if you're making friends out in the community, because that's all I'm for. I love making friends with other bands, and I'd be like, you know what, let's get together, let's have a sick night, and let's just go fucking crazy. And it's we had that with a band called Embodiment. So we played our second show at the Rigger in Newcastle under Lyme, and we played as the sub support for them, and they were brilliant bunch of guys. I was speaking to the lead singer Harry out in the smoking shelter. Such a down to earth guy. I think they're from Bristol, I think, but they're traveling up to my neck of the woods, and we're playing again at Percy's in November. And that was a gig that was sorted out through Harry contacting us. It's like, you know what, let's get back on stage together. And I was like, you know what, yeah, let's do it. And the same thing with another band called Chaplin as well. It's like we're playing again with them. They're fantastic as well.
They're good guys, yeah.
Yeah, it's just friendships that we keep on making now. Every band that we play with, I want to embrace the friendship with them. I want to make it so that we can all just gig together and we can all just have a laugh, have a good time, and then we'll just all support each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I think years ago, especially when I was playing gigs in early 2000s, things like that, people would always have this mentality of like, oh, you're riding on the coattails of this band, you're riding on the coattails of them. I think now it's just like that's not what it is. What it is that you like a band. Like I am a fan of loads of bands, as we all are. So if you like the band, do you not want to play gigs with them? Do you not want to do this? For the amount of bands that might pull you up as well, you can also pull other bands up, and we can all pull each other up. And at the end of the day, the music scene is going to be better for it because fans of another band will get to see us, and vice versa. And I think, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be any of this sort of elitist mentality. That's not what it's about in the metal community. It's just everyone gets together to have a good time.
Amen.
Yeah.
Before we go on to the final stage of the interview, the up close and personal, just one final question for you guys is, what's the next year got in store for you guys?
Ooh. We haven't really got that far, to be honest, have we? I don't think.
Well, we know what we're doing. Well, so for the next 6 months anyway, we have got some quite a few gigs organized, and it's also we've been writing, so we have got some songs that on the back burner that are ready for us to start bringing to the forefront. So this weekend we're going to start with rehearsing a new song that we've never touched on before. So we for the next at least 6 months, it's going to be concentrating on putting on a good show, trying to bring some new songs into the set. After the new year, I think just more of the same. We just want to get out there and play. Doesn't matter where it is, when it is, as long as we're all free, because that's one of those things as well. The more members you have in a band, we've got to try and make sure everyone's available, and we all do have other commitments as well. Family commitments, work commitments, and that's fine. No drama there. But so the more time we can have to prepare for a gig and say, we can be available, then good. But on the odd opportunity, we can do last minute gigs, and we'll always do as much as possible to be able to play gigs. And I think that the next year is just more of the same, new stuff coming out, learning new songs, writing new songs, playing gigs, and just see where we are in another year. This has been our first year, and I don't think I've had as much fun in a band before, and I've only been in the one previously, but we did tours and things like that before. So hopefully 2024 is going to bring in Any Given Reason tour, whether that's with one of the bands we mentioned before, because it has been mentioned. But yeah, definitely more gigs, hopefully a tour, and hopefully we can get on some festivals, because I think we all attend festivals anyway. We're already there. Stick us on,
Just start showing up with your instruments.
That's it, We'll just bring some travel guitars and stuff, and we'll just be like, yeah, put us on.
In all fairness, I was under the impression that we were headlining Download next year anyway.
We all haven't announced it yet.
I had an embargo put on me email-wise earlier for this.
If only.
We're on after Iron Maiden.
Imagine that.
Maiden is supporting you.
Oh god, no, but yeah, just more of the same. We're just gonna, whatever comes at us, we'll take, and we'll any gigs that might come out of it, then we'll do, as long as we can be there, and as long as like I say, we don't mind where it is. I think we just started to get some contacts in sort of Belgium and Amsterdam as well, so because we want to try and break into mainland Europe as well. So hopefully we'll get some gigs out in Amsterdam.
Excellent. Looks like an exciting year ahead.
Yeah, I hope so, man. It's the world's your oyster, isn't it? And we're all fucking bang up for it. So if you've got any gig recommendations you think we should get on, or any good venues of, let us know.
You need to come up to Liverpool so I can see you.
Well, this is one place where we are looking to get into, but also when you're saying what's coming up for the next year, in September, we are attending the Shropshire Music Awards.
Yes, we are.
We have been nominated for Best Rock Metal Act for this year, which was a complete surprise to us until about a week ago. So we got an email saying, I thought it was one of these scam type things, or come buy some tickets or whatever, but no. We've been nominated for an award, and in our first year, I think we were all kind of taken aback by it. We were like,
it was weird. I was at work just scrolling on my phone playing Monopoly Go, and then this frigging pop-up popped up, and I was like, you are? So I screenshot it, sent it to the band, and everyone was like, fuck off, that's not real.
I literally replied saying, is this real? Is this real?
But no, turns out it is actually real, and we're getting suited up and going to an award ceremony.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that hopefully that's win or lose, it's just nice that we were discussing it. It's just nice that we've been sort of recognised.
Yeah, within your first year, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we were taken aback by it, and we were questioning the validity of it. We were. That'd be nice.
Excellent. Well, good luck on that. Hopefully we'll be talking to you next year as winners of the Shropshire Metal Awards.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.